Hi you guys, I'm Melissa from the Ranting Shop, and today I'm going to be reviewing part 2 of Ready to Love. It was not it was kind of a letdown, a little bit of a letdown, because I already knew all of the things that transpired, mostly the most important things, so it's not very shocking to me. The first thing I'm not gonna be speaking about everybody because I'm not interested in everyone's situation, especially the ones that didn't stay long on the show. So I'm not gonna be really discussing too much on Shay. I'm not gonna be discussing Danny very much, and I'm not gonna discuss the other guy very much. I don't even remember his name, the antisocial guy. I forgot his name. So first we're gonna address Jay and Joy. So that was the relationship that we left off on. Tommy asked Jay and Joy whether they were still together. Now, because of me seeing like their interactions on social media and how Jay referred to um seeing how Jay referred to um Joy as his friend, he kept on repeating friend, friend, friend. I knew they were not together. They were simply just friends. I figured that out very early on. There's many people that to me are very delusional, and their expectations are just that they hope they stay together, so they use that as okay, they're gonna stay together as like the truth, when really it's not. And it was very clear that they were not friends and they did not end up being together. To me, based on the language he used and just based on how he always referred to her as his friend, I knew it. Plus their body language on the show, it was just very obvious that they were nothing but friends. But they said that they're working out something, they're dating a little bit. They've only dated twice officially, so they're just friends as of now. I'm not surprised. If anybody is surprised, that's simply because they wanted to ignore the obvious and they wanted to go with what their own fairy tale. But really and truly, the writing was on the wall. Anybody with any type of analytical skill could just know that they were not together in the end. So that wasn't a surprise to me. So they talked about Raymond briefly. We know Raymond was the guy with 5 children. He's the musician that kept on repeating the fact that he thought with Tank and Genuine. He was kicked off the show because he didn't seem like he wanted to marry anyone. He just seemed like he wanted the relationship to flow, and that's a big red sign with guys. Like, if a guy tells you just let it flow, just leave the relationship, let him flow with somebody else, because most times guys like that, they'll be in a relationship with you for several years and never marry you because they want the milk but they don't want to pay for the cow. So that's a red flag. But apparently he found love with Shay, or they're dating. So that's what the situation is with Raymond and Shay. They Tommy was giving him a little bit of advice and telling him that you know what, don't say the no marriage word. The goal is to marry, and so on and so forth. I still don't think he believes that, but we'll see how their relationship unfolds. I don't particularly care about Shay and Raymond's relationship because I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Still, we have Naya. We all saw the exit. It was horrible. It was declassé. Everybody was mad at her for doing that to KG. She seems to have no regrets on the show. There's absolutely no regrets. She seemed like she would do the same exact thing again, because they did ask her whether she'd approach it in a similar fashion if it had occurred that way, and she said yes, she would. So Naya has no regrets. Naya and Edwin are apparently dating each other, but she says she's open to other connections. She's openly dating. She says she's been openly dating before the show, after the show, and on the show. So Naya dug very deep down, 10 toes in her truth, and she wasn't about to apologize for it. She wasn't about to deny it. Or double back and say she regretted it, because she didn't. KG spoke. It was pretty harsh, of course, what happened to him with Naya. Naya says that she did speak to KG, asked him if he was okay. He said he wasn't. She said she didn't rush into something with Edwin, and that one didn't end for the other to begin, but that they were two different situations, meaning her and KG's situation was different from her and Edwin's situation. And it wasn't that she ended it with KG to be with Edwin, it was just something that happened. It was two different situations. Denise was now in the hot seat, and she spoke about the jealousy thing was addressed, and Adriana and her had some words exchanged with each other. Adriana, of course, thought she was being picked on by Denise. Denise thought she was being disrespected by Adriana. Adriana said she was not being disrespectful to Denise. Denise just took it as disrespect, and I feel like with Denise, what it is, and also they spoke about the jealousy situation with Kalfani. She said she wasn't jealous about anyone, or she wasn't jealous with anyone. She understood that it was a dating process, and what it was is that, like, if she thinks that she's being taken like advantage of, or made a fool of, she gets very defensive, even if that may not necessarily be the case. So what I truly feel like with Denise is that she needs to work on some issues that she has internally that has not been resolved. Maybe some childhood trauma, adult trauma that she's faced, that has made her guard all the way up and has made her extremely combative to other people. I'm of course very sympathetic towards Denise, and I wish her the ultimate best, but she does need to take some time to deal with that aggression, that little bit of aggression that she has, that combativeness, that huge guard she has up, that makes her come across so to have like those tendencies that she accused Rashid of having. Of course, we did address the narcissistic comment that she, of course, told to Rashid. Rashid clarified beautifully. He said that it wasn't necessarily that she called him a narcissist, because she knows he knows she didn't call him a narcissist, but the fact that his name was associated with narcissism made it it would have made it a potentially bad situation for him, because the other women would have potentially avoided him, and that would have ended his journey on the show. So for that, she definitely should have apologized, but she said she's not apologizing for her own words, and what she meant was that she saw some tendencies in Rashid that reminded her of some other people, and they ended up being narcissists according to her. But I feel like she didn't quite get the point, and she started saying, oh, people wanted to apologize. No, it's not people wanting you to apologize. You should be willing to apologize. You should know that what you did wasn't right, apologize for it. But I don't think she really grasped that. But anyways, moving on. The last but not least, they left Adriana and Kalfani. I guess they were supposed to be the best for last. Everybody was saying before the show that they thought that Denise was the one that left the note on Kalfani's door. It was actually an ex that left a note on his door, probably telling him that she wanted him back, she wanted another shot with him. Adriana said that they had to have a date after the show to talk about some things. Well, she said Kalfani told her they should have a date to talk about some things. And then Kalfani broke it to her that he is in fact in love with his ex, and his ex reached out to him, and that's where he wants to be. He knows her longer, she's met his children, and he can potentially, or he sees himself potentially marrying her. So Adriana looked like she had this huge egg on her face, because remember, she chose Kalfani instead of Rashid. Everybody was rooting for her to pick Rashid, but instead she chose Kalfani, and everybody knew that the choice for her picking Kalfani was not the best choice for her, and that she solely went on looks. Apparently they had some other, he said she was the easiest to talk to and was the perfect match for him on the show, but in reality there was a better match for him, his ex. So that's who he's with now. So Adriana and Kalfani are not together. People hypothesized before the actual part 2 happened that Kafani and Adriana were definitely not together, just solely based on body language. It didn't seem like they had any type of relationship. Adriana looked stupid. We hated what she did to Rashid. She let Rashid, she kind of made him stay just so that she would have two choices to choose from, when in fact she already knew that it was Kafani that she would pick. It's not like there was a jumble up. I don't feel like there was a confusion. I feel like it was clear that she was going to pick Kafani, and the fact that as soon as the show ended, Kafani is like, I mean, all the things I felt were genuine, but I have a better connection with my ex. Their relationship didn't have any type of chance whatsoever, because the ex reached out to him and he obliged, because it seems he always wanted the ex and he was waiting for her to reach out, and the fact that she did gave him all the, I guess, encouragement he needed to pursue that relationship instead. And another thing is, I think Kafani probably didn't want to start over, and the fact that the ex already knew his kids just made it easier for him to go along with her instead of introducing a brand new woman to his children. Okay, so I feel a little bad for Adriana, because that has to suck and it must be embarrassing, because we saw how she was so caught up with Kafani, and to see that he ended up not too long after the show deciding not wanting to be with her, it's very funny. It's hilarious, as a matter of fact. Now before, I believe, okay, so before, after Kafani addressed the fact that they're not together and he's back with his ex, Rashid was explaining, like, Tommy's question about what he feels about Adriana now. Would he give her another chance? And Adriana was not even listening. She was talking with Kafani. How rude and disrespectful. Like, after the way you treated him on the show, you're continuing to ignore him to discuss at that moment something with Kafani. I just feel like it's so rude, and Tommy was so irritated. He's like, the whole point is listening, you know, and you're not even doing that. And he was kind of annoyed. He was telling Rashid, that's Adriana was your, and Adriana was your number one, right? Look at how disrespectful she is. And he's like, that was your number one, really? And so Adriana says immediately after the thing happened with Kafani, Rashid was on her mind. Well, that's on her. Me being Rashid, I would never look in her direction. Like, that's clearly not the person for him. They had two chances to figure each other out. She didn't choose him, and that's her loss. As he rightfully said, his focus is on his new business and his child, and that is where it should be. Rashid will get the woman he desires as very soon. Very soon. He's an awesome man, and he will get what he deserves. People assume that Adriana and Denise would fight. They never fought. And people assume that Denise wrote the note on Kafani's door. It wasn't Denise, it was his ex, and he's no longer got together with Adriana. Nobody thought that was not a surprise, so nobody's surprised. Anyways, let me know what you think about the reunion show. Was it lackluster to you? Was it a bit boring? Did you already know what was gonna happen in the end? Let me know. If you have anything to add, do add it. And if you like what I've been doing so far, you could subscribe to my channel and like. Thank you all for your attention, and see you next time on The Ranting Shop. Bye bye.